Time for the real and inside story on Warriors basketball.
Curry sidestep, Curry drive, Curry flip, Curry good!
This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on KNBR 104.5 and 6.8. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
You need a three to tie. Draymond screen. Steph leading three. Ruled out. Trey Murphy is fouled. He'll shoot free throws with 8.7, and if he makes one, that would put the Pelicans in position to close it out.
And the Pelicans would close it out. 114-109 is the final. We welcome you in. It's Dubs OT with JD, John Dickinson here on KNBR, the sports leader. And Steph tried to keep him in it down the stretch there. A game where the Warriors actually got off to a pretty good start, but the second quarter was too much to overcome. Pelicans dominate in the second quarter, 45-22, and then just enough answers in the third and fourth to quell the Warriors' rally. Steph trying to be out of this world down the stretch there in the closing couple of minutes with the Warriors finding themselves down with about 3 minutes to go, and Steph trying to bring the Warriors back. Warriors actually got enough stops to where they could go for the tie, and then Steph took a bad one. And Steve Kerr choosing to challenge and thinking that he's got a better shot at winning the challenge that he wasn't going to win than Trey Murphy missing multiple free throws to keep the game within striking distance. All in all, disappointing effort for the Warriors, and they dip now to 45-36 with one game to go, and the loss now means that their fate is sealed as far as the 9-10 elimination game matchup in the play-in tournament, likely on Wednesday. Opponent to be determined. A lot going on and a lot happened in the Western Conference at the top and toward the bottom, and there's still a game ongoing that the Warriors should be keeping an eye on because it has gotten tight in Sacramento between the Kings and the Suns, with Sacramento holding a 2-point lead in a game they led by as many as 14 or 15, actually 16 in the second half. So depending upon how that plays out, we'll see who the Warriors' opponent could be. It's down to the Lakers or the Kings as far as who they'll play in that 9-10 matchup. So 808 KNBR is the number to join the conversation here on a Friday night. Disappointing game overall. I thought the Warriors, without Jonathan Kuminga and Gary Payton II, and maybe if those guys had played, I'm not saying they make the difference, but I thought for a good chunk of the night the Warriors were basically outclassed in this game from a talent standpoint. Again, not having Kuminga is a big deal to make that statement, but they got off to a real good start. Raced out to a 21-10 lead. Pelicans were not hitting threes in the first quarter, 1 of 8 from 3 in the first quarter. Well, they made up for it the rest of the night, and especially in the second quarter where the game flipped as the Pelicans outscore the Warriors 45-22 in the second quarter. Pelicans went 10 of 13 from 3. The Warriors also turned it over 9 times in the quarter, and the Warriors really having trouble with their offense. Going up against the Pelicans defense. And so all in all, the Warriors find themselves down big and trying to fight to scratch back into the game, but to no avail as the Pelicans do end up winning it 114-109, the final in this one. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as well. And we'll get to the YouTube and Twitch comments here, or YouTube chat comments coming up between now and 11 o'clock as we roll on here and kind of keep everybody updated on what's going on as far as potential matchups. And it's going to go down to the last day of the season as to where the game will be. Although, again, most likely it's the Warriors as the 10 who are going to be taking on the Lakers as the 9, and Sacramento has a quick 5-point run to move now up by 7 with just under 5 minutes to go in Sacramento. So that would keep the Kings, unless the Kings somehow slip up on Sunday, from being the team that the Warriors would face in that play-in. So a lot of back and forth and up and down over the course of the last couple of weeks, and the Warriors making a hell of a run, 9 of 10, to get themselves in position to where they had a shot to move up. And right now it is looking like the most likely scenario for the Warriors is going to be where they've been for the better part of the last 2 months, which is essentially 10th in the Western Conference and having to win a couple of road play-in tournament games to get the 8 seed. Now, the 8 seed flipped a little bit potentially tonight because Denver blew a big lead in San Antonio late and found themselves now in a 3-way tie with Oklahoma City and Minnesota. We'll lay out all those scenarios here between now and 11 o'clock as well. But 8 isn't necessarily going to get you Denver. In fact, more likely than not, 8 won't get you Denver. But the Warriors are going to have to win a couple of games on the road, most likely, to be able to advance and get to a first-round series. 808 KNBR, the number, 415-808-5627. Appreciate you. Appreciate Neil coming by from Freedman's Appliance. Appreciate him. Also appreciate Morris, who stopped by and said hi right off the top of the show. Greg Silver, Greg in our San Francisco studios. Morris took advantage of the put it on JD's tab portion of the proceedings here out at Harmonic Brewing. We are coming to you from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. And, pour a little out for the Warriors as their late rally tonight came up short, Greg, and their late rally to try and move above the 9-10 game is going to come up short as well. Some initial thoughts on this one. Warriors came out with the right purpose, but the second quarter was too much to overcome.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I thought that they did come out with a great and intentional effort in the first quarter, something you haven't always seen when they're at home. But honestly, JD, if I'm just going to keep it real with you and everybody out there listening, this was a really frustrating one. Like, it's not the end of the world. This is what the Warriors have been all season. I still think that winning 9 out of 10 shows something, and they have been playing a better brand of basketball. But we've seen a lot of games like this where they have a late push and then they just take an ill-advised shot, or they have a bad turnover at the wrong time, and it's not enough to get it done. And I give New Orleans credit. I thought they shot the lights out after the first quarter. They took advantage of everything. Zion Williamson, Draymond made his life hard, but he still got inside and played bully ball when he needed to. And I just think that New Orleans was more disciplined. I think that the Warriors didn't have the best body language, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of that comes from fatigue rather than poutiness, but I do think they were tired and they were not getting a couple calls they wanted at times, and they just kind of mope for a second, and really not what you're used to seeing from a championship level team. So, yeah, if I'm being honest, this was really frustrating. When your opponent has 25 points off of turnovers, then you're probably going to lose the game. But New Orleans did a lot of things in terms of turnovers, missed shots, and missed free throws that gave the Warriors chances to go back and take it. I know Steph had a Herculean effort to try to make this go into overtime or have the Warriors take it at the end. I don't really know why that's the shot you're taking in that moment, down 3. Like, that
was a bad shot.
Yeah, you didn't have to take it. It was a pretty bad shot. You didn't have to take it. And the challenge, I don't think they really thought they were going to win that, but Warriors' decisions to challenge plays has been pretty trash all year long too. So this is where it is. They got to win 2 elimination games. And look, I'm not a betting man. I don't know if we're doing Dubs OT beyond a week from today.
Yeah, I mean, look, the odds would say that it's not likely, at this point. But those are the odds when you're basically the 10 or the 9 in the play-in tournament. Like that proves to be your fate, and all 82 games count toward that. And while the Warriors have been a much better basketball team over the last 2.5 months, it's proven to not quite be enough. and a lot of different things to kind of get into here. And that you said, I mean, one, yeah, it was a bad shot by Steph when the Warriors actually got the possession down by 3. But he was also the guy that was, trying to do the unthinkable, which was rally his team from, 11-12 down in the final, 2-3 minutes of the ball game. And so, the turnovers tonight did the Warriors in a big time way. And, they defended the 3-point line overall, decently tonight, but the Pelicans made 2 in the 3-quarter. The Pelicans made 10 of 13 in that third quarter, and they end up making 20 for the night after the start where they defended the 3-point line well. And then it was just like we've seen too many other times over the course of, the other 3 quarters of the game, but the 10 of 13 is the difference. And, I don't think tonight, Greg, was as much the Warriors not being locked in as it was, or being too loose or lackadaisical. I think tonight was more the Pelicans' length and, the Warriors just struggling to run their traditional offense against that length. And it led to extra possessions. It led to, some shots, some easy shot attempts for the Pelicans in rhythm that ended up being the difference here.
Well, let me just say this too, because this is always the case when it comes to big boy, big time playoff basketball, or playoff-like basketball in this case. You live and die by your best players. So I want to give New Orleans credit. I see Zion Williamson just 11 of 26 shooting, but still had 26 points and a career-high 6 steals tonight, which well done by him. I thought Trey Murphy was tremendous shooting the 3 ball, hit some deep ones. CJ McCollum put Curry in the popcorn machine and hit a really clutch one, not necessarily a dagger, but a really clutch 3 down the stretch. And for the Warriors, Steph had 7 turnovers and just looked a little bit fatigued out there. I'm not going to go down the Curry doesn't have it anymore path, because I think that makes for terrible talk radio. But, he was a little bit unfocused at times. And then you also have Wiggins and Clay, who struggled for the most part. And Draymond, didn't give you anything offensively, though he was fine defensively. So your best players just didn't have it tonight. They didn't get it done enough. You could talk about Moody and Kuminga and Trace Jackson Davis. Kuminga didn't play. Pajemski, I mean. And at the end of the day, it comes down to your guys.
Yeah, no, it comes down to your main guys. I mean, Draymond didn't even take a shot in the game tonight. And, that's tough to do. 12 boards, 11 assists, doesn't take a shot. So 0 points for Draymond Green. And, Wiggins got off to a horrendous start, did get to the free throw line and was more aggressive in the second half, finished with 18 points, but 5 of 14, 0 of 4 from 3. When the Warriors get those numbers from Andrew Wiggins, they don't typically win. And, yeah, while Stephen Curry scored 33 and shot the ball lights out from 3-point range, the turnovers wrecked any really of the momentum that were garnered by the shots that he was making. So all in all, it's a tough loss. All in all, I do give the Warriors credit for going for it tonight with the outside chance that they could get the win, and depending upon what happened in Sacramento, have the chance to be able to maybe move up into the 8-7 matchup. But, they did, I think, look a little bit fatigued tonight. I thought they looked a little bit fatigued at times last night. And, it all plays a role. And now we'll have to see what the Warriors ultimately choose to do coming up on Sunday at 12:30.
Steph is
with the
definitely
quick
not
turnaround.
playing. Steph is absolutely not playing.
No doubt. And so I would imagine not. Now, again, you get the extra day now because you're in the 9-10 game. That's going to be on Wednesday. And here's the other thing. It's Sacramento and Phoenix down to the wire right now. The Suns have tied the game and have the ball with 20 seconds to go, and they're letting it ride right now in Sacramento with the ball game tied. And this is going to determine the Warriors' opponent, at least could go a long way toward determining the Warriors' opponent. Who's it going to be between Sacramento or the Lakers? Where are the Warriors likely going to have to go to be able to play and advance the first of what would be 2 road games in that 9-10 play-in? So we kind of pause here as there's been a foul in the Sacramento game. Thank you, Grace. Appreciate it, Grace, going on here. Yusuf Nurkic fouled with 8 7/10 seconds to go in Sacramento. And Nurkic misses the first free throw as he goes to the line trying to put Phoenix ahead in the closing seconds there. Wild scene. Again, the Kings were up by 16 in this game. Nurkic got an offensive rebound off of a Grayson Allen miss, was fouled, hits the second free throw. So Phoenix is up 108-107 with 8 7/10 seconds to go. The Kings have called a timeout, and they will try to go for the win at home. And again, still different things, Greg, that could happen on Sunday as far as that can change it. But right now, the final 8 7/10 seconds in Sacramento are going to go a long way toward determining whether the Warriors are going to go to L.A. or whether the Warriors are going to go to Sacramento to play in that play-in tournament 9-10 game.
Yeah, and you're actually a little bit ahead of me, so if you want to jump in at any time coming off the timeout, please do so. One comment that is one of my favorites that we've seen so far is our guy Andis Brown. And I think because the loss and knowing that it's going to be a 9-10 game, probably on the road, Warriors made their beds and they have to sleep in it. They have to dig themselves out and do it the hard way to get into the playoffs. Yeah, no doubt about it, Andis Brown. And that's not to say that they haven't found something with turning the season around. In Sounds of Silver, I think we're going to have a couple older cuts to have a broader discussion of what this play-in week is going to be. So I don't think there's nothing to it. But the bottom line is it's a really tough Western Conference, and they've failed to steal some games that they maybe weren't supposed to win, like tonight. And then they failed to hold on to games that they were supposed to win. And that's going to add up in the long term. You know, the JD rule of you probably should get about 50% of them. I think the Warriors are maybe a little bit on the wrong side of that. Sometimes you're on the right side, like the Kings last year. I digress. This is the reality of the situation. They got to do it the hard way. Like, they're not done, and I don't not believe in them. But one loss after winning 9 out of 10, and this is your situation.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. 808 KNBR is the number, 415-808-5627, as it is. Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the sports leader. I am a little bit ahead as far as what's going on in Sacramento. Foul to give was taken by the Suns, and now the thing comes down to the end here in the closing seconds. And I'll let everybody watch it. I do know what happened. I will let everybody watch it as it unfolds, Greg. And everybody's watching it in Harmonic, so I'm not going to blow it for anybody in Harmonic. I have seen it, though, ahead of the feed here on NBC Sports California as they show it here at Harmonic Brewing. I have seen it. And there's the foul to give. I don't know where you are in the process here, Greg.
I have De'Aaron Fox driving in. And he gets stripped, and that is a ball game. So a missed opportunity for Sacramento.
Phoenix wins in Sacramento, 108-107. And so close of business tonight, and I had laid out all of these scenarios. It's Warriors lose, Kings lose. And, yeah, the bar going nuts here at Harmonic with the news there of the comeback for the Suns, 16 down in the second half. Suns come back and win at Sacramento, 108-107. And so that means that as it stands right now, Greg Silver, the Kings would be hosting the Warriors in the 9-10 game on Wednesday at Golden One Center in Sacramento. And again, The Lakers have moved into 8th with their win earlier today. The Lakers are now 8, 46-35. New Orleans fails to clinch the 6th spot. Phoenix can still get the 6th spot if they win and New Orleans loses on Sunday afternoon. So, yeah, that is a hell of a development. It basically, Greg, that outcome and that comeback by the Suns means that it is more likely the Warriors are playing the Kings than they are playing the Lakers, which is, I think that's massive when you look at the Warriors' opportunity to potentially move on and move up. The other point of contention there is Denver may not be the 1 seed anymore, Greg. So if you're playing for 8, it may not be Denver. I'm stunned right now, sitting here at Harmonic Brewing, watching that unfold and watching the Suns rally to beat the Kings, who I think it is official. We can call them in a free fall after dropping the game tonight.
Now you can.
And now 45 and 36. Wow.
Can we also just acknowledge real quick what a missed opportunity for the Warriors tonight? With this result in mind of the Kings-Suns game, we're talking 8 seed if the Warriors hold on to this one.
Yeah, although, again, I can tell you're frustrated tonight, Greg. Excuse me, I almost spit my gum out. I probably shouldn't. I'm gonna take a sip. I'm gonna swallow the gum. Shouldn't have gum in your mouth when you're doing a live broadcast. So that's a foul on me. I'm gonna take that foul, Greg, and yeah, we're gonna get rid of the gum. But the Warriors did not play a winning game tonight at all. Like, they could have stolen the game. They played a winning first quarter, and then they played a losing 3 quarters. And the Pelicans look like the superior team. Again, maybe it's a little different if the Warriors end up having Kuminga, but yeah, gassed or not, incredible stuff. I'm still in disbelief that the Suns came back and won that game, especially considering the fact that it would put them potentially in line to maybe face Denver if they somehow ended up getting the 6. Now, they may end up, for all of that, playing the Lakers in a play-in tournament game in Phoenix over the Tuesday night, possibly. So yeah, wow. 808 KNBR is the number. It is Dubs OT here on a Friday night on the Sports Leader. In some ways, it kind of feels like a reprieve. Greg, and again, I know how you feeling now, Warrior fans. Look at the scenario of now you can rise up potentially, and you might just playing Sacramento would give the Warriors a lot of confidence.
You would think so. Like, I would say Lakers without Anthony Davis would be your first choice of opponent. Anthony Davis will probably be there help in the play-in tournament next week. I would think that because Warrior King games, and this is not to demean the Kings at all, but they really come down to just a couple of possessions a lot of times, win or lose. So if you're the Warriors, you probably want to take your chances on the coin flip rather than have to deal with LeBron and Anthony Davis. And on top of that, like we've mentioned on the show before, Malik Monk has been a Warrior killer. He's not playing. So, Sabonis has not had his best performances against the Golden State Warriors. Like, matchup-wise, it does favor you to have to go to Sacramento, not to mention easier travel than to go and play in LA and crypto. Does that mean that the Warriors win the game in Sacramento? No. But is it a more favorable situation on paper? Yeah, I think so.
It is. And here's the other reality check point of all of that. You're going to have to beat the Lakers probably, or the Suns, or the Pelicans again anyway, right? Like, you can look at it and say, hey, more favorable matchup as far as maybe you're more apt to beat Sacramento in the first game than you would be the Lakers in the first game. But here's the other thing. You've got one of those other 3 teams who have all posed matchup issues for the Warriors in different ways over the course of this season, being the Lakers, Suns, or Pelicans, as we saw tonight, for crying out loud. So again, I think your point is most important and that is the missed opportunity to get to the 8. But it was just clear from the second quarter on that the Warriors were going to have to steal this one if they were going to get it, and that they just weren't going to be able to steal it on a night where, I always say, you play a winning game or did you play a losing game? And I thought the Warriors played a losing game tonight. I thought the Pelicans, all told, played a winning game tonight. And so, sure, a couple of things happened down the stretch. Maybe it flips the script. But now the focus is on the Warriors. And what do they do Sunday? I'm with you. I would anticipate now they end up resting everybody. Now, it still could flip when you look at the way it ends up as far as – Sacramento, but what that would take for it to flip would be the Lakers to lose. And now the Lakers know that they're going to be going out with the possibility of being able to win, to get 2 chances. So the Lakers are going to be full throttle on Sunday afternoon when they play the Pelicans, but they're playing the Pelicans now, who now need to win. So it's, again, it still could flip back in the other direction. As there will be no rest in that game because the Pelicans win to get the 6. The Lakers are trying to win to advance and get the 8. And ultimately, if Sacramento can get the win against Portland, then they would be able to still move up. And if the Lakers lose, it would still be the Warriors and the Lakers. So it's still a decent chance that it's Warriors-Lakers when you start to filter through the rest of it. But everybody's going to be playing in New Orleans now with that much at stake as far as all of the matchups and the play-in tournament and how things are going to shake out. Too many turnovers tonight for the Warriors, and just the three-point defense, which has wrecked them throughout the course of the season. That does the Warriors in as we get back to the focus on that.
Yeah, JD, I was thinking about that, actually. It was the Irwin trio. What did he have? He had rebounds, something else, and then he said perimeter defense was the third. That's the one that they could not get down tonight.
Yeah, no, it's they could not get it down tonight by any stretch. Let's go ahead and pause here. 808 KNBR. We do have a couple of lines open. It is Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. We'll get into the YouTube chat. Sounds of Silver's coming up at 10:30. I've got my Kolsch, and I feel like Greg's a little more frustrated about this game than I was. I kind of looked at it as they just played a bad game and didn't have it. And the Pelicans are better. Like, that was kind of the other part of it. And, at least as far as I go tonight, valiant effort down the stretch, but just too much of the mind-numbing bad Warriors out to play in this one over at Chase tonight. So 808 KNBR, the number. We'll get to the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line as well as the Warriors lose to the Pelicans. 114-109. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR, and this is Dubs OT with John Dickinson, streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
It's a lot of the season.
Herb Jones, open three.
Two defenders went with Zion there and just left them.
Yeah, too many open threes tonight for the Pelicans as the Warriors lose 114-109. Pelicans hit 20 of 38. And that was after a 1-for-8 start. So the Pelicans, 19 of 30 over the final three quarters. Zion Williamson, 26 points on 26 shots, but his presence was felt in this one. And the Warriors struggling with the Pelicans' defense at times in this game. Tough night for Andrew Wiggins. Klay Thompson didn't shoot it well. Draymond Green didn't take a shot. And the Warriors lose this one 114-109. So they are locked into the 9-10 game. They will be playing an elimination game likely Wednesday, though not 100% official, either in Sacramento or in Los Angeles. Now, there is a chance, I guess, Greg, that the Warriors could win and the Lakers could lose, and it could still flip back to where the Warriors are playing at Chase Center on Wednesday night. There's also a scenario where, it could be the Kings, as I mentioned, or the Lakers. It's funny. I was kind of talking through this with you during the break. So as it stands right now, close of business tonight, as I like to say, it is Phoenix 7, Lakers 8, Kings 9, because the Kings lost a 16-point lead at home to Phoenix down the stretch, and the Suns beat the Kings by a point. So Kings are 9, Warriors 10. So right now it would be Warriors at Kings. Winner moves on and has to win again. Loser is out. It would be Lakers at Phoenix, and those teams would have a chance to win to be the 7, lose, and then get a chance at the Sacramento Golden State winner. But it's interesting because the Lakers are playing in New Orleans. With Denver losing at San Antonio, Denver is now most likely to be the 3 when it looked like Denver was going to be the 1, and that would mean OKC or Minnesota would be the 1. 1 obviously plays 8, 3 plays 6. So if you're the Pelicans playing the Lakers on Sunday, Greg, and I'm just going to ask you what I asked you during the break, do you want the 6 knowing that it's likely to be against Denver, although you don't know for sure that it's going to be against Denver? Or do you decide that you would prefer to play in the play-in tournament, no guaranteed spot, and then basically let it go against the Lakers? But then Phoenix is playing Minnesota. Could Phoenix let it go and say, hey, we're good. We want to be in the play-in tournament. We'll play for our spot against somebody. Again, I think you have to take the guaranteed spot and fight for the guaranteed spot. I mean, that's just the logical JD scenario, Greg. But it got me kind of thinking of all these scenarios because the Lakers are playing the Pelicans, who still need a win now for the 6th seed or a Phoenix loss, but all these games are going to be at the same time. So there is the possibility Lakers lose at New Orleans. Kings have Portland. and those two could flip again, and it would go back to the Kings being the 8 and the Lakers being the 9, which would mean Warriors going and playing at that particular point in time down in Southern California, and also potentially flipping back to where the game could be at Chase Center as well. But then do the Warriors play their guys on Sunday, or do they just accept we're going to be the 10 and let things play out? It's all interconnected, and the schedule maker got lucky with the way that it is shaken out this year, Greg. I don't know what to make sense of what and who's going to end up doing what. What would you do? I know I asked you like 5 different questions.
Are you asking me as somebody who is a radio producer in the Bay Area and covers the Golden State Warriors, or are you asking me as somebody that is keyed in on the New Orleans Pelicans for 12 months a year?
Wait, say that again. I'm asking you as if you're the Pelicans, what would you do? If you're the Pelicans, you got to play for 6.
You want the guaranteed spot. If you're Greg Silver,
play for 6.
Then you kind of don't, and you'd rather just roll the dice with Minnesota and OKC. But that's my perspective from someone that has no vested interest one way or another in the New Orleans Pelicans. If I'm the Greg Silver out in Louisiana talking to the JD of Louisiana doing Pels OT, you want to get the 6.
Yeah, and here's the other part. The Warriors, and again, I'm running through all of these scenarios in real time. It's a lot cleaner when the Warriors are not playing and we don't have to go on the air immediately. The Warriors could also, Greg, still, I believe, get to 8. Is that possible? They could get to 8. Now, if they win,
the Lakers lose and the Kings lose to Portland,
and the Kings lose to Portland, which again, not likely, but the Kings are officially now. I'm going to declare them in a free fall, and I don't think they would lose that game, but I guess technically, mathematically, the Warriors could still get to 8.
I just got an alert on my phone right now, trying to let it load because it was actually giving me all the 8, 9, 10 scenarios for Lakers, Kings, and Warriors. But, for all the people in the chat, and I want to give a special mention to Joe H., whose head hurts. Hey, me too. It's okay. We'll tweet all this information out. Follow our guy JD because his graphic / little table, that is impressive work. And you sent me that this morning, and I'm like, wow, I know everything now.
The only problem is I can't do that in the 5 minutes it takes me to walk from Chase to Harmonic without the Suns-Kings game being final, which happened as we were on the air. So I'm kind of in real time going through all of these different scenarios that are in play here now with all games in the books as far as Friday night is concerned. Nobody plays tomorrow. And then everybody plays on Sunday, and everybody in the Western Conference plays on Sunday at 12:30 Pacific. So nobody can see what other teams had already done and decide to, change up their game plan beyond all of that. The one thing I will say, we will have it all for you on the Just Dubs live YouTube, Twitter, Twitch show tomorrow. Here for KNBR, the sports leader. 808 KNBR, Drew Down in Tracy here on the sports leader on a Friday night. Drew Down, I appreciate you, man. My head is spinning. Poor effort for the Warriors tonight in terms of play and execution. I don't think it was unserious or they didn't try or anything like that. I just think they didn't have it for whatever reason, and I am absolutely stunned that the Kings blew a 16-point lead in the final quarter plus. I guess I shouldn't be, but I am, and it's kind of stymied me with all these different scenarios here that still are in play.
Hey, what's going on, JD? Yeah, not surprising the Kings blew the lead. They've been struggling lately, but that was just kind of pouring salt in the wound, you know what I mean? They had a chance,
totally.
Especially with the Kings loss, but that 45-22 second quarter, the game was obviously lost there. The game started out great. The Dubs were playing great defense. The first quarter was great, but it's 45-22 in the second quarter. I mean, good luck coming back from that. That was basically the game in a nutshell. Hat tip to CJ, McCollum, and Trey Murphy, man. Trey Murphy was hitting threes and CJ big threes all night. They were a combined 14 of 22. So those guys made big threes. So definitely hat tip to them. Zion put up points, but I thought, he definitely made an impact, but I thought they made him a volume scorer. But yeah, CJ and Trey Murphy, man, they were killing us from behind the line. And the other story of the night, man, 16 turnovers. The Pelicans had 25 points off those turnovers, 7 from Steph Curry. 7 turnovers, man, that's just – I love Steph, and I'm not going to kill him, but that's unacceptable, man. In a kind of a must-win game, a game you really need to turn the ball over 7 times. He made a lot of big shots, and he gave this team a chance to win at the end, but 7 turnovers, that's just hard to fathom. I thought Trace was really good again, as usual. At this point, it's like we almost shouldn't be surprised. He was a team high plus 12. So yeah, shout out Trace Jackson Davis. Wiggins and Klay Thompson struggled, man. They were 11 for 35, combined 3 for 13 from 3. So they just didn't have enough, behind Steph. Draymond with a double-double, but 0 shot attempts. That's, with Kuminga out, 0 shot attempts. That leaves me scratching my head, man. He's got to get some shots up. I thought they definitely, missed, GP2 on the perimeter, especially against McCollum and Murphy. But who knows, man? It might not even matter the way those guys were shooting. Guys are up in their grill. They were hitting step backs, deep threes, so it might not have mattered. Yeah. And, Kuminga probably could have used, some of Kuminga's scoring. But, the way those guys were shooting, man, like I said, I don't know if, prime MJ or Scottie Pippen on him would have made a difference. But especially with the Kings losing, I watched the end of that game. It just kind of, like I said, poured some salt in the wound. Just like, damn, I'm not going to kill the Warriors for the loss. Obviously, the second quarter, was inexcusable. At the same time, the Pelicans are a very good team, and they showed that tonight. But if they would have, just maybe take care of the ball a little bit better, and maybe, lost by 10, 45 points in the quarter is ridiculous. But just a missed opportunity, and there's obviously a Hail Mary chance that they can still get the AC, but it seems like at this point they're kind of relegated to most likely the 10th seed and probably a first round matchup with the Kings. So a tough loss, and it hurts more when if it was a 10-point, 12-point loss, but the fact that they had a chance, and I didn't love the shot that Steph took at the end of the game, but it's Steph Curry. I'm riding or dying with him, but I wish they would have maybe been a little more patient and got a better shot. But they had a chance and they didn't come through. And they dug themselves a hole all year. So now it is what it is. You're the most likely the 10th seed, and you got a hell of a road ahead of you to get into the playoffs. So we'll see what happens, man. Thanks, JD.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Drew. It was a bad shot, but again, it was Steph freaking Curry shooting a crazy 3. How many hundreds, if not thousands of times has Steph Curry hit a crazy 3 in his career to help the Warriors win? Like hundreds of times, literally. Maybe thousands is probably going a little too far, but hundreds for sure. He's done it over the course of his career. So, again, of all of the things that we can quibble about coming off of this one, that would be probably at the bottom of the list. There's no doubt. I think the Warriors could have used Kuminga tonight. Rim pressure, athletic body, somebody in the dunker spot. Like that basic Kuminga game tonight helps. But the Warriors didn't have him. He fell on his tailbone last night. And, that you got to deal with it. And the Pelicans also, as Drew Down was kind of going through his call, the Pelicans did essentially the same things they did to the Warriors tonight to the Kings last night. And, they are a good team. Now, they haven't been playing great of late, but they found enough to put themselves in position where they're going to, be playing for the 6 against the Lakers in New Orleans on Sunday afternoon at 12:30. So, 808 KNBR, let's keep it moving with Danny in Vancouver next here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Danny.
Hey, JD. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was telling Greg during the break, I am rarely ever at a loss for words. I just kind of go and go and go. But I could not believe that, one, Denver lost when they were up 17 to San Antonio. That threw the whole night off. That was like kicking the chair out from under you. That just was like, whoa, Denver's not going to be the one. And then Sacramento losing, as disappointed as everybody is to the way the Warriors played. Sacramento blowing the 16-point lead to the Suns was just stunning. Basically in the final 15, 16 minutes of that one, a little bit down the road here from where we are in San Francisco. So I'm kind of at a loss for words. Bad effort. Not a bad effort, but poor execution. Tough night for the Warriors against a very good Pelicans team, and now they're left with having to win a couple of elimination games.
Well, first thing, I've never ever witnessed you being at a loss for words. But that being said, I did watch the end of the San Antonio game, and it was a great game. It was so exciting.
Incredible. It was incredible.
Wemby played out of his mind, and I'm telling you, San Antonio's got some. Forget about their record. They are going to be a good team. They're extremely well coached, and I think they're going to come on. And that's another team in the West that's going to be a problem in a few years. So don't sleep on them.
You mean add them to the list with Memphis and Houston? Add them to the list of Memphis and Houston that are behind the Warriors, but are catching up fast.
Yeah, I know. The sun's setting, my friend. Regarding the game tonight, it was quite disappointing. I got to give New Orleans credit. I thought their three-point shooters shot out of their mind. I mean, some of the shots that Trey hit were incredible. Trey Murphy on the is it Murphy? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, they were contested.
No, Danny, if your name is Trey the Third, you can shoot the three. Come on, right? If you're Trey the Third, you can shoot the three, and he is lights out.
Yeah. So I got to give him credit. He took some Steph-like threes there. So that being said, Steph looked tired as well as he played. He was. I mean, when he makes 7 turnovers, that's going to be. That's got to be fatigue. I'm sorry. I mean, I just think, if they had taken care of Portland last night, it's all connected. Maybe they put it away and Steph didn't have to pay 35 minutes. Maybe he paid 30 minutes. That might have made a difference. But the turnovers, like Drew Down said, the turnovers just killed them tonight. They could have won that game, no question. So, and last thought is, I'm glad you clarified the playoff thing, because you said in one of your tweets that the Warriors were locked into the 9-10, and I kept looking. I go, well, what am I missing here? I said, no, they. I mean, it's very unlikely. Don't get me wrong, but they still could move up to 8. Is that clear now? Did I miss something?
That is correct. That is correct. Okay. And yeah, I appreciate you bringing up the tweet, because I had forgotten about the tweet, but kind of working through everything in real time. If the Kings and the Lakers both lose and the Warriors win on Sunday, unlikely, but yes, the Kings do have Portland. We've seen, we've seen that the Kings play Portland in Sacramento. So the likelihood that they drop that game, I mean, again,
very unlikely.
Maybe all bets are off with the Kings, but very likely since Portland's not trying to win. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I hope we'll be chatting again in a week. JD, that's all I can say. It's going to be tough, but I hope we'll be chatting again in a week. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you very much, Danny. Danny in Vancouver, British Columbia, chiming in here. 808 KNBR. Let's keep it going, Greg. If you're good with that, let's keep it moving, because we've got some late additions here to the phones on Dubs OT, and people continuing to file into the YouTube chat as well. And so Eric is next in San Francisco on the Sports Leader. Hey, Eric.
Hey, JD. I wanted to get your question or your perspective on one short term, and then I think it dovetails into a longer term question. And that is, I feel like the fans are a little detached from the results of the rest of the NBA, because if you look at it, the Warriors are what? They're the Thunder are number one. They're 1-3 against them. They're 0-3 against the Timberwolves. They're 0-4 against the Nuggets. They're 1-3 against the Clippers. They're 1-3 against the Mavs. They're 1-2 against the Pelicans. They're what?
1-3 against Phoenix.
1-3 against Phoenix. 2-2 against the Kings and 3-1 against the Lakers. Does that really seem like a team that's like gonna like carve up the playoffs? It seems like we're really good at beating the bad teams, but when it comes down to crunch time, we can't really get over the hump against the good teams.
Eric, I think that's a great point, man. Like I don't think that should be lost in the post-mortem of this season because here's the thing, and I've said this a lot, so I'm gonna sound a little redundant maybe to the listener and to the viewer here, but the Warriors do have to kind of reconcile how legitimate their success since the end of January has been with how their season actually ends. Does it end in Sacramento in the 9-10? Do they win a couple and lose in the first round? Like all of that has to, and also exactly what you're talking about. And you came correct with all of the numbers as to the fact that the Warriors have not been good against really any of the other top 10 in the Western Conference. And so, yeah, they have to evaluate that. And it tells a story that maybe they aren't ready to, because it's also about next year, right, Eric? It's about are you ready to contend? And I was joking with Danny in Vancouver, the Spurs are going to be better, and I think Memphis is going to be better, and the Rockets are going to be better, and so you have to factor that in as well.
And that was going to be my next question was, okay, so we will have gone play-in loss to Memphis, championship, a first-round game 750 piece that got us to the second round. And if we lose in the play-in, that's basically, it's a solid team, and Houston's better. Memphis is definitely going to be better. San Antonio is going to be better. So that could potentially be 12 teams that are as good or better than the Warriors. Is that really worth a $400 million payroll?
Well, it won't be. I'm going to give you the short. I'm going to give you the short and direct answer on that one. It won't be. And that's maybe the most important point is: are you going to pay that premium if you're Joe Lacob to be I'll even say a play-in team? I'll even take the optimistic view and say, hey, you're 7-10. Well, that's probably too much to spend to be 7-10 if you don't think you have a realistic shot at making a run from that point. And so, again, I think they are, Eric, going to try to get their financial house in order a little bit. And does that lead to, how do you improve if you're going to do that, which is another part of the equation?
Right. That's exactly my question is okay, I don't really, with the way the second apron works with picks moving back, you can't trade consecutive picks. You can't do sign and trade. You can't do add contract aggregation. If we're in the second apron and we don't have the talent, I don't how do we get better? I don't really, and that's the question I have is if we can't beat the good teams in the West, which we haven't been able to do, and we didn't do much better against the good teams in the East, then isn't that something to consider in terms of direction of the team going forward? I mean, I don't want to be completely negative, but I just am cognizant of the fact that, I said, 1 through 9, that's our record against them.
Well, no, and here's the thing, and Greg may have the number, and Eric, thank you for the call. I really appreciate it. Eric in San Francisco always bringing it, and came correct, Greg, with every single record head-to-head that the Warriors had against the top 10 in the West. That's impressive stuff. But no, the Warriors are going to have to determine how much the reality of their finish to the season matters toward next year, because there is a scenario where I could see them in a post-mortem press conference with Mike Dunleavy Jr. up at the podium saying, hey, we really like the development of the young players. We really like the fact that we went 28-12 in the last 40 games or whatever it is. I'm making up that number. It's close to that number, but And we think that can be indicative of the type of team that we have next year. So, how much does that truly matter, and how do you get better? I think it all ties back, Greg, to the Kuminga conversation, because and I'll even add a third caveat to what I've already said. And I've already said the only way the Warriors get better, can be a contender next year would be if Kuminga becomes a superstar, or if they trade Kuminga for a superstar. It's also the only way that they could get better while also trimming payroll. Because if you were to trade Kuminga plus salary for a superstar, you could then cut some other high salaries and basically add the star and lessen the financial load with a couple of expensive role players that maybe would go away, whether that's 2 out of the 3, Wiggins, Clay, and CP3. If Wiggins, Clay, and CP3 go away, or 2 of those 3 go away, but you use Kuminga to bring in a legitimate second star, that's really the only way, Greg, you can improve and get your financial house in order. So I think it all comes back to JK, Greg.
It all comes back to JK, but it equally all comes back to ask number 30. Like, Steph, what do you want? You're going to have the hard conversation with him. Do you want to end your career with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green by your side? Do you want to possibly not contend next year, but knowing that you got great pieces, and if everything goes right, maybe you could make a little run and be ahead of schedule like a OKC type of team this year with one veteran superstar? You got to ask the most important person, most influential, and greatest player to ever grace this franchise. Steph, I know you might not be that type of leader in terms of being overly outspoken, but they got to ask you before they make these decisions.
And they will. And what do you think Steph's answer to that is?
I don't know, because I can't get in his head.
I'll get in his head.
But I think he wants to win.
Is trade the young fella.
Yeah.
I'll get in his head. I think the answer would be trade the young fella and keep Pajemski and TJD and maybe Moody, and look to keep one of the 3 between Wiggins. Because here's the thing, you can't keep Kuminga and trade Wiggins and be better for it. You can't, because you're probably trading Wiggins for nothing. To me, the answer would be you trade Kuminga for your number 2 option. You keep Clay, and you move off of Wiggins or CP3 in terms of some of the salary structure. 808 KNBR is the number. It is Dubs OT with JD here from Harmonic Brewing. Appreciate everybody who is on hand out here. Grace and Julia tonight closing up shop. And also a good opportunity as Greg picks up the phone lines to let everybody know that we're going to be out at Harmonic Brewing on Sunday afternoon, Warriors and the Jazz, and we are going to have a full season in review, play-in preview show out here at Harmonic with Greg Silver on hand, joining me, John Dickinson, from at least 3 to 5. I talked to Copes today, our boss, at least 3 to 5. Maybe we go longer than 5. We're going to start on YouTube and Twitch and the Twitter X stream, and then we're going to join on the radio at about 4 o'clock, roughly, after Lasky's done with extra innings following the Giants-Rays game. So, yeah, come out and say hi and have a beer, and we're gonna recap the season, the good, the bad, and as I like to say, the sometimes sad, Greg, and then look ahead at the Warriors, who we know are playing beyond Sunday. It's likely on the road, either in Sacramento or against the Lakers, but still some scenarios that can shake out over the course of the next now basically 40 hours between now and when we're back here at Harmonic Brewing on Sunday afternoon. So 808 KNBR is
I'm
the
looking
number.
forward to it. And JD, I don't mean to jump you, but it was actually my mistake. Bleacher Dave is still with us on the phone line, so we'll get to him. Okay,
yeah, I okay. I was gonna say I no longer saw Bleacher Dave on the screen, but Bleacher Dave, I'm coming to you, my friend. How's it going? Good to speak with you. Always a pleasure.
What's up, JD? Hey, I think I was your first guy on KNBR, and I'm the last guy for the night. But not the last guy for the season. Look, you said a word. Sad.
Maybe.
You said a word sad, because this is sad. Look, the Pelicans are marching through California like Sherman to the sea, and they need to keep up that march down to Southern California on Sunday to.
Well, hey, let me jump in on you, Bleacher. They're going home. That game is in New Orleans. I know. Yeah, they're actually going home. The Lakers were in Memphis tonight, so the Lakers are making the short trip from Memphis to New Orleans. The Pelicans are actually going farther because they're going from Cali on the 3.5-hour flight back to New Orleans. So, 2:30 Central. Down in the Bayou, Bleacher Dave. But, yeah, that game, I know it would only make too much sense if that game was in L.A., but it's actually not for whatever reason.
I like it. At least the Lakers got to play on the road. Well, hopefully Trey keeps his legs. That dude played 44 minutes last night in Sacramento and showed no ill effects tonight. Legs fresh as ever, draining them from everywhere. That was tough to stomach. There was no way.
You know what's impressive? And I'm cutting you off like I cut off Greg Silver, but I'm going to let you finish. The floor is yours. The Pelicans, because of the in-season tournament, Bleacher Dave, had to play an extra road game, right? So they ended up with 40 on the home court and 42 away. Tonight was their 42nd road game. They ended up with the best record in the NBA on the road, 28 and 14 on the road. Impressive stuff. I want to give just a nod of respect to the Pelicans, who had to play the extra one away, lost a home game, and just had the best road record in the league.
Yeah, so I flipped over to watch the Kings after our game was done. Man, Nurkic and Sabonis were bumping and grinding like it was the 90s. It was a lot of fun bully ball that they had going against each other. Letting them play. Look. We can say that Curry might have been – that was a bad shot for some people, the last shot of the game. I'll take that shot from Curry every time. I'd rather see him take that shot than probably anybody else in that situation put one up, particularly because he had made so many improbable threes. Three threes before that, must-haves when you put them in. I like that. There's a couple of odd things. And so a lot of attention to Steph's 7 turnovers in that second quarter. The Warriors' defense also sagged off some of them guys in the corners as Zion was attacking the middle. You're not going to help him. They hit some shots in deep. The Warriors also didn't guard well. And then I'm not one of these dudes that likes to kill Steve Kerr, but just a couple of things that I thought were a little puzzling tonight. When Clay hit the jumper to close the lead to 3, or was it 5?
He took him out.
He took him out. That was kind of weird. And then TJ.
Normal rotation. You know what, Bleacher? Yeah. It was the normal rotation, but I made a note of it, and I thought I might have gone against the normal rotation. Full disclosure, I can send you a screenshot of my note. I was like, it was like that was the time to go off script, and Steve stuck on script. No, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, well, and so here's what I think, Steve stays on script so that when you get down to the end of the season in moments like this, dude's got a little bit extra where you can, freelance a little bit because you protected him during the season. And he didn't do that. And kind of the final note, TJD was marvelous tonight, as he had been, down the last stretch of the season, 21 minutes off the court for the key possession of the game when the Pels get the offensive rebound and CJ McCollum hits that 3. With defense, I think it was Steph draped all over him. They kind of put that one away. Tough way to lose. The Dubs got accepted. They lost the game at home that they absolutely needed to win. And kind of final note, there were 11 pairs left at tip. The get-ins were $289. I had not seen so little ticket inventory since game number 73. This was a big game in San Francisco. And the Warriors bit the spit. Yeah. So let's see. Come on, Pels. Beat the Lakers. Let's get us a home game. This thing ain't over yet. Keep hope alive, baby. Flash.
Appreciate it, Bleacher Day. All-time favorite, Bleacher Dave. Respect and love, and have a great weekend. And we'll talk to you on Sunday. A lot to chew on there. Greg, I did make note of the normal Clay rotation after Clay hit that three, and that's something that truly I almost never do. I wonder if Steve will go off script. Nope, he stayed on script. Again, over the long haul, I think that's not a huge deal. As far as Trace Jackson Davis was the other point that I wanted to bring up, and him not playing quite as much tonight. I think part of the reason Trace Jackson Davis didn't play more is because Stephen Curry's turnover problems, and they wanted to try to take the ball out of Curry's hands a little bit, and they wanted to add another ball handler, and that meant add Chris Paul into the mix. So I think Chris Paul tonight was the guy who took Trace Jackson Davis's minutes. And it is a little surprising on a night where there's no Kuminga. No, you're good. I think you have to factor through that a little bit, Greg.
Yeah, it is interesting if you kind of plug and play like that. I'm generally pro having Chris Paul out there more so than other people. I recognize that he and Steph is a tough defensive backcourt in games that come down to the wire. But take last night, for example, Portland. I love Chris Paul out there when you're playing a sloppy game and you need people to just not screw it up when you finally get it together. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Trace Jackson Davis, I do think, was one of the Warriors who was keeping them alive. Like, he wasn't perfect, and, he had times of getting cooked defensively, really the last two nights, but getting the offensive rebounds and the hustle plays, I think actually were keeping the Warriors alive. Like, I know I said at the beginning of the show, you win and lose with your best guys. Wiggins, Clay, Steph didn't cash in on a lot of opportunities, but Trace Jackson Davis, at the very least, created extra opportunities. I wrote this note, by the way, because stats and numbers, if you just take them at a face value sometime, don't mean anything. But after that really disgusting second quarter, I wrote down that in the first half, the Pelicans had 46 shots in the first half. The Warriors had 39. Like, the Pelicans created extra opportunities, or you could also spin it and say the Warriors limited.
Because the Warriors gave them the ball.
Yeah.
The Warriors just handed him the ball like 5 times, and 3 of those 5 were Steph.
Yes, exactly. So when the Warriors cut their own opportunities and in turn gave the Pelicans opportunities, that ultimately kind of went back to bite them. And they won 3 quarters by score. Although, as you texted me, sure didn't feel like they won the third quarter. But that second quarter kind of was a big part of the game. And it's tough to overcome that. And you can't throw the ball away against good teams. So for me, the Chris Paul thing and TJD, I like TJD and his hustle tonight. I also understand the desire to go to Chris Paul when your team is incredibly sloppy.
Totally. And I think it makes sense. I mean, again, I think Trace Jackson Davis was a positive force on the game tonight, but if Steph plays better, I think you can keep more traditional lineups out there and have it be effective. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. It is Dubs OT with JD here on Esports Leader. We are going to have time, Greg, for another segment, so we will be able to go into the 11 o'clock hour. I do want to get to a couple of text messages, and then I think we're going to break a little bit early here before the top of the 11 o'clock hour, and we're going to come back, do Sounds of Silver and Fun with Numbers, but we'll kind of bridge the 10 and the 11 o'clock hours. But I want to get to a couple of text messages real quick here. 626 Golden State Lumber Building Materials text line. Warriors inconsistent all season at home, and it bites them again. It surely did. Warriors have just not been the same team for whatever reason on the Chase Center hardwood. Now 20-20 with 1 game to go on Sunday afternoon against the Utah Jazz. Another text message to get to. 925 out in the East Bay checking in. The question now, who would you rather play? The Kings on the road or the Lakers at home? I'd rather play the Kings on the road. I'd rather play the Kings on the road than the Lakers at home. And I think the last text from the 626 answered it for you. Answered it for you. 4-3-0, Dub Nation bum. They choked a chance to be the 8 seed once again. Not mathematically, though. But, yeah, figuratively, they have lost that opportunity. All right, 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Before we break, let's get Duck Sauce in San Jose here on the Sports Leader. What's going on, Duck Sauce?
Hey, what's up, JD?
What's going on, my brother?
Oh man, disappointed. Just had to fire off a few takes about tonight, though. I thought, I thought Draymond did a pretty good job, all in all, on Zion tonight. I think Kerr obviously decided he was going to let him go play him one-on-one, but the problem with that is that's supposed to allow you to stay home on the shooters, which they did stay home, but they still made tough shots. So it still hurt them. That was the big takeaway from that. And then the other thing, we all know like how careless we are with turnovers over the years, even when we were great. But I'm okay with the turnovers when you're a read and react offense. I know those are going to happen. Sometimes one guy may cut one way when you're thinking them to slip the other way or something like that. But the ones that kill me are just like you're coming out of a timeout and it's just lack of focus. Like the one Steph, twisted his ankle on, like he had the nerve to look away and throw a behind the back pass on that turnover. I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's hard to be critical of Steph as great as he is, but even that shot at the end, like that was basically a floater, a one-footed floater from the 3-point line, JD. Like
total prayer.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you when and the turnover out of the timeout when the Warriors were down by 5, they had cut it to 3. It was 95-92. The Pelicans made it 97-92. There was a timeout, and the Warriors turned it over out of that timeout, and that was the point where I was like, all right, this thing's probably done, and that's happened far too many times this season. That was the only time tonight, but it's happened way too much this season.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I usually agree with everything you say, JD. I will push back a little, though. I know he didn't shoot well, but I thought Wiggins was tremendous tonight, to be honest with you. I thought he was the only one. He was the only one getting to the line tonight. I thought he was putting tremendous pressure on the rim. I know he didn't shoot it well, but I didn't look at him as a negative as having a tough night. I mean, I wish some shots would have fell, but I thought he was great tonight. So, but that's all I got, my man. I'll be listening tomorrow morning. So, all right, man. Have a good night.
Appreciate you, Duck Sauce. Check in with us tomorrow. Check in with us on Sunday. Yeah, I thought Wiggins was kind of a tale of two halves. I thought he was good in the second half. I thought he was pretty bad in the first half. Kind of the Jonathan Kuminga game. And look, here's the other thing. Reality check. There's too many games where him and Kuminga both are kind of whatever in the first half, and then they play better in the second half. But, yeah, I thought, all in all, you look up, and Wiggins, you look at the overall number, and it was 18 that the Warriors needed, but not efficient, did get to the line. Again, I thought Wiggins was where he needed to be in the second half, rather, but not in the first half. All right, 808 KNBR. Let's pause here, Greg. We'll come back, and we'll do Sounds of Silver on the other side, and we'll do Fun with Numbers as the people are still kind of hanging out here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. As the Warriors lose 114-109, it's Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Did you hear something?
Yeah, like a swoosh.
Yeah.
Dubs OT presents the sounds of silver. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
All right, welcome back. It's Dubs OT with JD, final segment here on the Sports Leader, 808 KNBR. We will sneak in some calls. They're keeping things going here with Julia and Grace at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. But it is time for Sounds of Silver, and the great Greg Silver, the soon-to-be a year older Greg Silver, is ready to roll here in our San Francisco studios. So, Greg, welcome you back into the show here. Appreciate you. And what do we got tonight?
Yeah, well, first of all, a big thank you to Ryan for cutting up a bunch of sounds during the post game, making this segment flow as usual. We're just going to get right into it with 2 minutes of Steve Kerr at the podium because he said a lot of interesting things, and he will answer the question about possibly resting some guys on Sunday. So let's just hear it all, starting with the head coach of the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, our turnovers killed us. You know, we had really good control of the game in the first quarter, held them to 17. Our defense was great. And then we just started turning it over. I thought Alvarado came in, put a lot of pressure on the ball, and we couldn't execute offensively. And I think they scored 15 points off our turnovers in that quarter alone. So that's where the game flipped for sure.
They were 20 of 38 from 3-point. Did you think just have breakdowns there? What was going on with their tough shots that they were making?
Tough shots. I thought our half-court defense was great tonight, and I thought our guys were flying out at shooters. Give them credit. They made some really tough shots. I mean, Trey Murphy made a couple of 30-footers with a hand in his face, high arcing shots. This is the modern NBA, you know. We made 26 threes in LA the other day. They made 20 tonight. If a team gets hot from three, it's really hard to win the game. So, you know, they made 7 more threes than us, but it was the turnovers that led to transition that got them going, and you could see that's where they started to pick up their confidence.
I know you don't know all the permutations, but could you be resting some guys on Sunday?
Oh, hell yeah.
Does it matter 9-10 at this point? Well, how much does that matter?
I mean, you prefer to stay at home, but if you look at what we're facing, it's a gauntlet, right? And you got to play two play-in games, and if you can win those two, then you got to, game one, 48 hours after that. So I'm much more interested in our ability to be ready for next week, but we've got to wait and see how everything shakes out.
All right, Greg. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, that tells the story. I think I would not anticipate Stephen Curry or Draymond Green playing against the Utah Jazz on Sunday afternoon. I'm going to surprise a lot of people here. To me, playing at home is insignificant at this point. The Warriors have been a better road team all year. They've beaten the Lakers twice in Crypto.com Arena in the last month. And they've also proven that they can go win big games in Sacramento against this Kings team over the course of the last year and a half. So to me, knowing that you're going to have to beat the Kings and then either the Lakers or the Suns, or you're going to have to beat the Lakers and then either the Suns or the Kings, or maybe the Pelicans again, depending upon how all this shakes out, and do it all on the road, I think rest is more important at this point. Like, accept your fate. Punt on being 9, accept being 10, and move forward knowing that you're as fresh as you can possibly be. Because here's the other thing, Greg. He says you'd be playing Friday night, and then 48 hours later, it might be 30 hours later or 36 hours later, because the Warriors, if they get to a first round, they might be playing at 12:30 Pacific. Although maybe not, now that they might not be playing the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets would be 1:30 Mountain, 12:30 Pacific. Warriors versus OKC? That might be like 5 o'clock Pacific. I don't know. It would give me extra time to get to OKC from wherever the heck the Warriors would be if they win a couple of play-in tournament games. But, yeah, I would expect the Warriors, and I think it's the right call, punt Sunday. Forget about Sunday and get rested up and be ready and be fully healthy, because it is going to be a gauntlet that basically takes you through the first 2 games of your first-round series, Greg.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think
if you survive it. If you survive it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the asterisk for everything. But I think when you look at this team, fatigue clearly shows its effects with aging superstars, and you got to prioritize that. And it's not last year where it's like, oh, man, 10, we're on the road. Winning 2 games on the road, elimination games, that's virtually impossible. No, they could do it. It's all the same, home, road. To be honest, I think that Steve Kerr knows his guys too. Like, for everyone's going to freak out tonight. He knows his guys. He's going to know that resting them is the move on Sunday. I'm not surprised he went in with that answer. And if you're away and 10, and they got to worry about one game at a time anyway. So you can't obsess over the home versus away. You're going to have to win a road game to get into the playoffs regardless. So just chill out.
You're going to have to win, at least one. And again, if you accept your fate, probably 2. What's up next?
We will hear from, actually, I'm going to say one of the cuts I was thinking of playing was from Tolbert and Copes earlier this week. We're going to save that for Just Dubs tomorrow morning when we're on YouTube. So we have 2 more.
Let's do it.
We have 2 more. One from Trace Jackson Davis and one from my guy, Podium Clay. Let's hear from Trace Jackson Davis first. And the reason, JD, that I wanted to play this cut is because there's one word he said a few times that really made me fixate on it, and I thought was nice and telling. So here's what Trace Jackson Davis had to say.
I think that second quarter is really what started that flurry. Guys like CJ, McCollum, Trey Murphy, they got comfortable. And then when teams start hitting threes, it's contagious. And so afterwards, we went into the locker room, said we got to take that away. I feel like for the most part we did, but it's hard to come back when teams are shooting the lights out. Can't let them get comfortable.
The Warriors did let him get comfortable, and that's been something that's happened all season long. How many times have we talked about the Warriors allowing a team to get comfortable offensively? And look, I'm not even coming down their road for it happening against the Pelicans. The Pelicans are a good team. I think the Pelicans might be a top 4 team in the West. I think the Pelicans might be, when they're fully loaded, I think they might actually be better than almost everybody in the Western Conference, to be perfectly honest.
So
Denver.
Do you retract your take of saying that you didn't believe in the Pelicans from earlier in the season? Because I remember Dallas, we were both like, yeah, I don't know. And then it turns out the trade deadline, they actually retooled nicely.
Hello.
Thank you. I told you at the time, I said, I actually think a fully healthy Pelicans team, I buy.
Come here.
And we got a guest too. So that's cool.
Yeah, we do have a guest. No. We do have a guest, Greg. I'm gonna take the headset off. How are you? What is your name? Monica. Yeah. Nice to meet you, Monica. Come on over and say hi to everybody. Actually, no. Let me give you this one so you can. Oh, I screwed up. Here, come over to this one. It's on delay. Monica saying hi here at Harmonic Brewing. Appreciate you stopping by and saying hi. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. What did you think of the game tonight? Awesome, but terrible, but awesome. But that's great, right? It was awesome to be at the game. It was awesome atmosphere. It was great, but it was terrible because they didn't play great. And the second quarter was brutal, but then awesome because you were there and it was great. So you're live on. I had the wrong feed up for you, Monica. So this is the live one, and then this is the delay when it actually shows up. So it's like So thank you for stopping by. Thank you so much. Wonderful meeting you. And if you want to have another beer, if you want to have another one, you can I can buy you one. You can let them know, and I can buy you one. Those are the rules. So let them know. No, seriously, let Grace and Julia know, because like we have a thing, and Greg's back in studio here, and we have a thing. Yeah, hi Greg. Yeah, you can come back into the picture. Hi Greg. Yeah, Monica, Greg, Monica. We have a thing here where if you come by and you say hi and you get on the show, that I buy you a beer. So if you want me to buy you a beer, I can. Some people do it, some people don't. But again, it's up to you. Maybe it's been a fun night. Maybe you're drinking water. It's all good. Either way. So thank you so much for stopping by, Monica. Thank you. Wonderful meeting you. Have a good night. Greg, again, apologies for jumping in on you, but when the people want to come up here at Harmonic Brewing, I lose it like the Kings lost that 16-point lead against Phoenix tonight.
It is no apology
which I
necessary.
still can't believe. I still can't believe that.
Hey, shout out to Monica. No, always love the fans. And by the way, Monica's a good illustration of what I'm always pushing people to do on this show and on social media. Go make JD fill up that tab just for you. Sunday, it's the time to do it. 3 p.m.-ish, right? We'll be there.
We're going to be there at 2:40. I mean, if Kerr ain't playing anybody, then we might be there at 2:30. We might just set up at the start of the fourth quarter. We might just set up at the start of the fourth quarter and watch the end of the Pelicans-Lakers game, because that's truly what's going to determine this thing.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point.
And by the way, did ESPN and ABC know? Because that was the game that they picked like 3 days ago as the game that they were going to air. I mean, it's still Zion, and I mean, you got the biggest names combined in that game, I guess, with the Lakers and the Pelicans. So a couple of more cuts, Greg. I apologize for interrupting you again, but what's new on this show? It's why you're going to quit working with me, Greg. You're going to be like, what? I can't do this again next year.
No. JD. Like, we have put way too much work in for me to just walk away. That is silly talk.
Greg's contract negotiations with Adam Copeland. I would love to come back next year and do the show with JD, but the dude has to STFU, and let me talk.
I think Cope's his response would be, dude, have you listened to half our other hosts?
Fair point.
So
fair point. That's a great point. You know what? I'm at a loss again. I'm stymied. You've got me stymied, Greg. What's next?
Well, this last cut is from Podium Clay. It's a different adventure every time with Clay in the mood. But this one, just kind of a interesting tone to end the night on. And he was he reflected on talking with CJ McCollum when they were getting a little chirpy there in the second quarter. So this is 19 odd seconds of his explanation of that interaction.
What was it like? It was like two NBA players talking, probably not the best words were used, but that's just what it was like, just good old basketball banter.
Him and CJ McCollum going at it. Let me tell you, Clay's gotten the better of the CJ McCollum back and forth over their careers, as Steph has gotten the better of him and Dame over their careers. But what a couple of nights, by the way, for CJ McCollum. 8 of 13 tonight. Do you remember what he was last night?
I don't. I was locked in on Dubs Blazers, baby.
As someone who witnessed both in person, he was 9 for 12 from 3 last night. So again, I'm bad at math. That is 17 of 25. He was 17 of 25 over the last 2 nights from 3. 9 of 12, 8 of 13.
And Trey Murphy was pretty awesome both nights too.
Yeah, Trey Murphy is a stud. Trey Murphy he's exact. The Warriors need to find themselves a Trey Murphy to play the 3. Like if you want to move off of Andrew Wiggins, go find yourself a Trey Murphy to play the 3, and then you can put a guy like that next to Kuminga, and then you got action. All right, final segment here. It is Dubs OT with JD. Great stuff from Greg Silver as far as Sounds of Silver goes. I do want to dig into the YouTube chat, YouTube, Twitter, and the Twitch chat as well here. Appreciate everybody. Again, the YouTube chat. I'm waiting for our guy Austin Scott to come over from Chase, and I'm trying to wave him in. So I'm getting a little distracted, but I do want to get into the chat. CA early. What an awful second quarter. 11-point lead to 14-point deficit. Outscored 45-22. 9 turnovers is just shameful. CA said it, and I will repeat it. And it hasn't, I think, been said since about late January. Gutless. It was gutless. It was gutless. Exactly. I don't even need to say it. Just play the thing. Gutless. The second quarter for the Warriors was gutless. The Kings losing a 16-point lead to the Suns was gutless. There you go. That's all. That's the Nuggets blowing a 17-point lead in the final. I'm not going to do it to the Nuggets. I'm not doing it to the Nuggets. Don't play it. I'm not doing it. Do not play it. Michael Malone will have my ass. Michael Malone will have my ass if I call his squad gutless for blowing the lead against San Antonio. But it did flip the whole thing on its ear. I want to get to – there was a back and forth in the YouTube chat tonight, Greg, on Moses Moody. Moses Moody is somebody that I do think could have played more tonight. Moses Moody played well tonight and made shots and was hustling around. And on a night where they didn't have Kuminga, again, they're not the same player necessarily positionally, but I like what the Warriors got from Moses Moody tonight. And I think tonight was a night where Moody got lost in the shuffle, and it played to the Warriors' detriment. So for those that were bringing that up in the chat, I'm kind of with you on that tonight. I'm kind of with you on that. Goo Goo Gaga Pods was minus 25. Yeah, Pajemski was not good in this game tonight off the bench. Worst plus minus on the floor at minus 25. He's been somebody who's been exceptional, including last night, but tonight was not his night. Andis Brown, you can tell from Steph's body language after the game that he knew he took a bad shot. He did know in the moment. And we didn't talk about that in real time, Greg, but he knew in the moment. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure they had it on the camera on the television side, but yeah, he did kind of hunch over like, why'd I do that? Why'd I do that? Even though you're Steph Curry and, you're the greatest shooter of all time. So that's why you did it. And you were on a heater. And, yeah, as Alpha Nickelberry points out, 10 seed looks likely. Brandon Johnson, Warriors are terrible against the top 10 teams. We had a caller who brought that up in the phone lines earlier today. Atco Pest Control making the point that not having Kuminga was impactful. LOL, I heard people telling me JK was better than Herb Jones and Trey Murphy. Well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there tonight. I'm just not. I would love to have Trey Murphy on my team. I'll just say that. I would love to have Trey Murphy on my team. Rebel to sound. Steph could have taken a better shot. He had time. Yeah, the Warriors had plenty of time there. To be able to get a little bit of a better shot. If Steph isn't locked in this time of season, this from Sear, the season's a wrap for the Warriors. Yeah, that's interesting. Again, I think Steph's locked in, Greg. It's just a matter of, is he playing well? And, he's fatigued. Steph needs the next, what would it be, 5 days off? Saturday, I'm going to count them out. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 days off. It's 4 days. Yeah, it's 4, not 5.
You could tell from the last 2 fourth quarters that he's really going for it, and he still is Steph Curry. I also think he's tired AF. Like, there's not much of a debate there on Curry being good versus bad. No, he's Steph, and he's tired AF, and he's carried this team probably a little too much, and 7 turnovers isn't good, but you're not going to have a great night at the age of 36 being the best player on a team every night. End of story.
No, that's end of story. Senior softball games chimes in, says hearing Monk might be back for the Kings if they make the playoffs. That would be a significant development because Malik Monk is scheduled to be reevaluated the final weekend of April. They sent out a thing that said he's going to be reevaluated, which reevaluated is not returned. That's, as we've learned with the Warriors, usually reevaluated means you're at least a week away. But it would be basically during what would be the game 4 of a first round series. So maybe in the first round, 3-4-ish, as far as that goes. Andis Brown, JD, and Greg will have a chance to play on Sunday with all the guys. I'm ready to play. I play no defense, but I shoot the 3 pretty well. But fatigue might be an issue. I get a little winded at this stretch of my career and or life.
I think if Draymond hyped me up like he did Pajemski the other night, I think I could rally for one defensive possession unsuccessfully.
I don't know that I want to play without Steph. Can I just say that? If Steph's not playing, I don't know that I want to play. And for those of you scoring at home, I mean, I'm like in the Udonis Haslem bracket. I'm in the Udonis Haslem era. If that makes sense. I'm trying to think I'm more LeBron / Udonis Haslem in the age bracket, shall we say, at this particular point in time. Fozzie says, I will be there Sunday to put it on your tab, JD. Fozzie, come on out and put it on my tab and say hi to Greg Silver. And for anybody who's coming out to say hi to Greg Silver on Sunday, happy birthday. Greg hates it, but we are celebrating Greg Silver's birthday, and we are celebrating my mother. They share a birthday, April 14, and yes. So you come out and you say hi to JD's mom and Greg freaking Silver if you come to Harmonic here on Sunday afternoon. We're going to have a few cold ones for you. Grace is bringing me another one because why not? They're still open, and Grace is a sweetheart. She's the best. Absolute best. Grace and Julia tonight at Harmonic Brewing as we wrap things up here tonight on Dubs OT here on KNBR, the sports leader. Daniel Shabazz, I think, saying I lack discipline because I was a little unfocused. I'm not going to lie. I was not unserious at the beginning of the show, Greg, but I was a little unfocused at the beginning of the show because I could not freaking believe the Kings were going to lose. It was insane. It was the quintessential like radio talking version of the rewrite. Like I'm coming on, I'm thinking Kings are going to win, Warriors are going to lose. It's Kings-Lakers. It is what it is. Like, Warriors are in big trouble. And then the Suns somehow won a game that maybe ends up being the reason they play the Nuggets, which would be kind of crazy. Although, and Greg, you know this, the Suns won in Denver twice. this year. So the Suns are probably like, you know what?
Yeah, they just can't beat the Spurs.
FOH, we want the Nuggets in Denver. I'm kidding. I'm going to get a text from Michael Malone for saying that. But yeah, unbelievable the way Michael Malone will have my ass. Oh my. Yeah, that one's going to live. That one's going to live. My favorite Michael Malone quote. No, we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into my favorite Michael Malone quotes. It's Friday and I'm rambling and it's 11:20. Carmar said wasn't mad at Steph for taking the last shot, was mad at him because of the horrendous passes that led to the turnovers, which gave the Pels fast break opportunities over and over and over and over and over and over. And yeah, Joe H pointing out the Pelicans made a lot of Pelicans made a lot of really tough threes, and they did it last night. YK, I want to get your take on this. Reason they have a terrible home record is because of the crowd. It's because of the crowd, Greg Silver. You're a Roracle guy.
I am a Roracle guy. But, you and I will concede with this take of yours, Oracle wasn't Oracle the last 2 years of Oracle.
It was not. It was not. The KD, the first KD year it was. The last two KD years it was not. Yeah. So I think that's. I don't think it's the crowd. I think it's the Warriors have come out far too loose. I think that's the reality of the situation. I think the Warriors have come out far too loose. I know Kirk kind of not downplayed it pregame, but it was just like, he was asked pregame about 25 road wins, and he was pretty blunt. He said, "Hey, if you told me we were going to have 25 road wins, I'd think we had a 55 win team." But they just have not been able to put it together on the home floor. Muhammad says TJD was really good. TJD was really good tonight. And there's a case to be made for more TJD minutes in this game tonight. But again, I think it came at the expense of Chris Paul. And the reason it came at the expense of Chris Paul was because Steph Curry had so many turnovers and they wanted to have another ball handler on the court there. Phoenix Suns won, Phoenix won. There were 1 million people, including our buddy Sear, a newbie. Enrique Rivera, JD play-by-play is a lock. Well, I wasn't doing play-by-play because that could actually get you in trouble if you're doing play-by-play of an event. So full disclosure, Greg. So here's what I will say. So I have an illegal login to the NBA. I know you're laughing. So I have a login. I'm not going to tell you how I got it, but I have a login to the in-arena scoring and stat system. So it is hardwired in line with the table at NBA games. And I shouldn't have a login for it. But somebody who was really kind, and I'm not going to mention their name because they may get in trouble if I mention their name, gave me a login for that. So what happens is every game that I watch that I'm not at in person, I'm ahead if I want to be on the play-by-play, on the scoring recap, on all of that. And so I had the Sac Phoenix Gamecast basically up in less than a second to real time. And so I didn't know everything that was happening, but I knew a lot of what was happening before it was happening. And yeah, probably by a good 15 to 20 seconds, it looked like from what you saw and what was going on but I like Greg Silver do the play-by-play. Greg Silver actually did the play-by-play for the record Enrique.
Am I getting in trouble now?
You actually did the De'Aaron Fox stripped and the Suns are going to win. Put that on your demo reel.
Does that mean I'm getting in trouble?
Future play-by-play extraordinaire Greg Silver.
Have we done fun with numbers?
We haven't done fun with numbers. There aren't a lot of fun numbers. Can I talk about the Warriors' road record, even though they played at home tonight?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the only fun with. They won 25 road games this year. They're going to win 20 or 21 home games, maybe 20 because they're going to punt Sunday. Steve Kerr said they're going, which is probably the right call. Actually, there's no probably about it. It's the right call. They should punt Sunday. Like, it doesn't matter. You're going on the road, punt, and decide whether you're going to play the Lakers or Sacramento. Yeah, Julia, Austin Scott's here. Say hi. Julie, do you want to say hi? I'm good, thanks to Grace. So yeah. You don't want to say hi? Come around and say hi? You can come around and say hi. Julia's going to say hi. Hi. Yep, that's the live. Hi to Greg. Greg's going to be here Sunday. Are you going to be here Sunday?
I open Sunday.
Okay. Well, it's an early game, so we might see you.
Maybe.
We might see you. We might need to do an early setup. Hi and bye. Thank you, Julia.
Hi and bye.
Hi and bye. Yep. Greg, and it's Greg's birthday. So if Greg comes by, it's Greg's birthday. So this Sunday is his birthday. I know. He's like, I know. You gotta card him. He's that young. You gotta card him. But yeah, it is his birthday, and we're happy to have him out here. Hey, the Warriors lost. They're locked into basically the play-in, so we're having a good. Greg's coming here Sunday. That is big. Austin, come say hi. It's 11:25. Austin, say hi. Yeah, you're live on Dubs OT. Say hi to Greg. Greg, look at Austin. Come on. Don't be fiddling with the board. Yeah, Austin's going to be here Sunday, and we're going to have we're going to have the setup where we can have up to 6 headsets. So we're going to bring Austin on Sunday after the game. Assuming he wants, Austin may decide because the Warriors are punting that he doesn't want to be here. He wants to hang out with his girlfriend. He might want to go get brunch with his girlfriend. So if he's missing an opportunity to finally formally appear on Dubs OT.
And then we're going to go to SAC on Wednesday.
And then we're probably going to go to SAC on Wednesday, as Austin had said. All right, Greg, let's do fun with numbers, and then let's get out of here because Greg Silver's going to have my ass.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
No, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
Not a lot of fun with numbers tonight, I'll be honest. Warriors' 3-game winning streak ends. They lose to the Pelicans, drop the season series to the Pelicans, 45-36. Still more wins than they had last year, but 20-20 at home. 20-20 at home, that is going to be the thing that the Warriors lament all offseason, no matter when the offseason begins, whether it's next Wednesday or Friday or at some point at the end of April or early May if they get to a first-round series. 20-20 at home ain't going to cut it. And they drop both to the Pelicans. Pelicans win that season series. The Pelicans, I am going to give another shout-out to the Pelicans, Greg, and because you heard me say it earlier, the Pelicans had to play an extra road game because of their play-in or their in-season tournament success. They lost a home game, had to play an extra road game, and they had the best road record in the NBA. They clinched it tonight. The best road record in the NBA. The Pelicans went 28-14, playing an extra game away from home, and they get to play the Lakers at home on Sunday in a game that we're all going to be glued to. Pelicans win twice in San Francisco, and they won 5 times in Northern California. They beat the Kings 3 times in SAC, and they beat the Warriors 2 times in San Francisco. Warriors 10-7, second of a back-to-back. They look tired tonight. No question about it. I thought the Pelicans made them look tired tonight. Tonight, the 47th clutch game of the season. Warriors dip back below 500, 23-24 in clutch games. They tied Atlanta because Atlanta played a clutch game against Minnesota. Minnesota ended up prevailing in that game down the stretch. 23-pointers, 6th time this season. The Warriors allowed 23-pointers. They are 1-5 in those games in which teams have made 20 or more three-pointers against them. Pelicans, Warriors did a nice job on the glass. They out-rebounded the Pelicans 53-37, but fewer missed shots for the Pelicans. So, again, that doesn't really tell a lot of the story. Steph made 7 threes, but the turnovers, crushing turnovers from Steph Curry, especially in that second quarter, and took a bad shot even as he was leading the Warriors back to what would have been a wild. If Steph hits that three, the bad three that we've talked about a lot here, if Steph makes that three, That's seriously one of the wildest comebacks in the NBA this season. They were down 11 with 3 to go. That would have been insane if that game goes to overtime and the Warriors even if they don't end up stealing it, that game just going to overtime the way that the Warriors were down and looked cooked would have been unbelievable. That would have been kind of an all-time Steph. Like, it wouldn't be something we remember for what it meant necessarily, but it would be an all-timer of like, hey, remember when Steph hit 4 threes in the final 3 minutes and the Warriors came back and forced overtime and won? It would have been one of those kinds of things. And then Trace Jackson Davis, 6th double-double, 10 points, 11 boards. He started again and is averaging 11, 8, and 1 assist, a couple of blocks in 25 minutes per game. TJD going to be on full display coming up on Sunday as the Warriors take on the Utah Jazz. And then Greg, always kind enough to send me some good nuggets here. Yeah, Draymond Green tonight, the first player in NBA history tonight, Austin, 10 boards, 10 assists with 0 field goal attempts or free throw attempts in a game. Kind of a statistical oddity, but a reality. And that's something that only Draymond, I think, could get away with. Final thoughts to you, my friend, Greg, as we call it a night here at 11:30 from Harmonic Brewing.
No, this was a frustrating loss. I think the frustration was permeating a little bit in segment 1, but to be honest, some of that had to do with just like random stuff here on the radio. It was chaos today. By the way, the Giants game is replaying in front of me right now. Talk about—
Did Bob Melvin just get ejected again?
No, not yet. But like, geez,
second time tonight.
It was ridiculous. Bob Melvin has not had his second ejection yet. I will say this though. I'm pumped for Sunday. It's going to be great. Love Dubs OT, and I do like my show close package tonight.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. We might have some new ones coming into the Warriors lose show close package. JD, why do you think Kerr sat Moody and TJD in the chat? It's if they sit, then if they play, others have to sit. Andis Brown coming at me for gum and beer. I forget the gums in my mouth, Andis. That's what happens. I forget the gums in my mouth, and then sometimes I see it on camera, and I'm like, oh, I got to get rid of that, or I like misspeak because of it. That's like the first thing they teach you in like any kind of broadcasting class is like, don't put gum in your mouth and do a broadcast. And sometimes I forget. So it's not that I like the gum and the beer, Andis, just for the record. All right. Well, that'll do it for Greg and Austin and Julia and Grace and Carmar and Enrique Rivera and Atco Pest Control and Joe H and everybody, all of the regulars on YouTube and Twitch. We've got Just Dubs coming up tomorrow, CA and Rockin' New Era 84, Judith Pierre. We will talk to you tomorrow, and we will talk to you from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City right around 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and we'll have all the answers as to where the Warriors are going. Who are they playing? Is it Sac? Is it the Lakers? Is there some kind of weird miracle where the Dubs get to 8th? Probably not, because as Steve Kerr said, hell yeah, I'm resting my guys. Hell yeah, I am. Hell yeah, Tim Kawakami, I am resting my guys. Austin Scott's going to start at Austin Scott starting at the 3. Greg Silver starting at the point. I'm going to play a small ball 5. I'm kidding. I'm not going to play small ball 5. But yeah, the Warriors and the Jazz in a game that will not be all that memorable on Greg Silver's birthday. For everybody, I'm JD. We'll talk to you Sunday. KNBR 104.5 and 680. Pelicans beat the Dubs 114-109. This is the sports leader.
Pelicans are smelling that 6 seed. Zion hits the 3. Now you really know it's their night.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
We got Steph Curry. Honestly, who cares what seed you are if you play like we did tonight? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You're not going to get very far. So
good old basketball banter.
That is over. Over. Done. Not happening.
Oh, rage! I hate it!
Michael Malone will have my ass.
The only flow that's going is down a toilet.
A lot of games have stung this year. We've had a lot of heartbreaking losses.
Irwin should have pinch ran for Conforto.